Good morning, everyone. This is a very exciting day for Carnegie Mellon University and for, I hope, for Yahoo as well, to take a relationship that's always been very strong between our two organizations and take it a big step further with a really exciting new project. So just as background, Yahoo has been a very strong contributor to both our education and our research efforts for quite a few years. And just to cite a few examples, they got us going. We were very interested in what's now referred to as big data starting in about 2007. And we formed a partnership with Yahoo that gave us access to a set of machines they had available. And it really kicked off some major research, including Tom Mitchell's NEL project, which is at the core of what we're going to start talking about today. So they've also delivered 432 server machines in a big purple moving van once a few years ago out there that really helped us put some computing capacity within our information lab in the Heinz College as well as in the computer science program. That's really helped us with resources. They've been generous with support via graduate fellowships, making data available in various forms for us to be able to do research. And so, and at many levels, supporting student activities down to the level of, we've got a big purple ping pong table in our, one of our labs. So Yahoo's a great company, and we're very proud to be part of it. And as I mentioned, we've had these connections. But today, we're going to take a big step forward with a collaborative research project on mobile applications and what they can provide in a very proactive way with access to information, which we're calling this project the In Mind Project. So I'd like to introduce Ron Brachman, who's the Vice President from Yahoo, who will describe more about what this will be about. Ron.
Thank you, Randy. Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for being here with us this morning. I want to strongly endorse what Randy said. This is a very exciting day for us at Yahoo as well. We've been anticipating this day for quite some time. I'm putting together what we think are some very compelling ideas and some plans, and to see it finally come to fruition is very, very satisfying and very exciting for us. So very briefly, if you've been following Yahoo at all recently, you're aware that one of the major emphases of the company is around what we call personalization. Creating inspiring and entertaining services for all of our hundreds of millions of users around the world, and trying to make them the most interesting, most appealing, and most engaging services by knowing enough about those users that we can satisfy their interests at the right time and in the right place. Also, we've had a recent and very strong continuing emphasis on mobile uses of our services. And we're bringing those two things here together in a way in this collaborative effort with Carnegie Mellon. So overall, what we're about to start is a 5-year, $10 million program that's really a very strong collaboration between the two institutions. In the past, like many other companies, we've given money, we've given servers and other things to the university. But in some ways, this is a lot more appealing because it's really an intellectual coupling between the two institutions. Tom Mitchell, whom you'll hear from in a moment, and I spent a lot of time together over the years, associated for a long time with the artificial intelligence community and AAAI, some DARPA work that we did together, which was very, very exciting and very important. And so this really feels like the next very large step in a journey towards sort of a grand dream of the far-flung future, where computers will work in very close partnership with humans in ways that are very natural, anticipating what people want at the right time and in the right place, being very responsive to requests, being able to deal with ambiguity and uncertainty, and also being very supportive and friendly rather than perhaps intimidating. So we're very excited to start this journey together today. The program, which Tom will talk a little bit more about, involves multiple elements. One is something that we might call a mobile toolkit, And this, we believe, certainly for Yahoo and perhaps elsewhere, is unprecedented, where we are creating a software package that will allow faculty and students at Carnegie Mellon to use real Yahoo service infrastructure and to create imaginative new versions of services and things we've never dreamed of that they can experiment with here on campus, both internally at the university and with us in partnership. And this is very exciting for both of us. It allows students whom we'd love to work with later in their careers, as well as faculty to get access to, in a sense, the real thing. Real services, real data, not artificial packages created for classroom pedagogical use. This is great for us, and we hope it will be great for Carnegie Mellon. Another element of the program are a series of fellowships. We'll call them Yahoo Fellowships. They will go to faculty and students over a sustained period of time, which is also a very important ingredient here, because it's one thing to give gifts that last for a year or a number of months, but the kind of work that we do that's really looking far out over the horizon really takes a long, committed effort. So, in fact, these fellowships will last as long as the graduate students need them, and they will lead to, we hope, collaborative work where students and faculty come and visit us at our labs, most likely in California and in New York, but perhaps elsewhere. And many of our wonderful Yahoo scientists and engineers will come and spend time on campus here. There are other elements of this that we can talk about over time, but what I'd like to emphasize is that this is in some sense, for both of us, a very big thing. We don't like to do things small. You know the scale at which Yahoo operates. You know the size of our customer population. Carnegie Mellon, in their own way, have done the same thing, creating the world's first machine learning department. So we want to continue to do very big things together, very dramatic things, and not only provide great opportunities for students and faculty and our scientists and engineers, but for all of the consumers and advertisers who will eventually use future Yahoo products. So thank you all again for being here. We're very excited in a few moments to answer your questions, but first let me introduce Tom, the head of the machine learning department.
Thanks, Ron. On behalf of myself and also my co-director, Justine Cassell, I want to just start by thanking Yahoo for this very generous gift and opportunity to do something really exciting together. In particular, I want to thank Ron and Don McGillen, who, let's just say, did heroic work to help make this happen. This is really an unprecedented gift in the history of the machine learning department and also in the history of the Human-Computer Interaction Institute, which Justine heads. We've never had this kind of magnitude of gift in our entire history, and it's going to make a very significant difference in terms of the life of our graduate students who are trying to do research and the whole type of work that we can do. So it's not just unprecedented in terms of the funding involved, but it's also a game changer in terms of the style of research. So perhaps some of you don't have this experience, but imagine for a moment that you're a university faculty member interested in doing research of the type that Ron just described, trying to invent new approaches that might be in the software companions of our future. You want to do this. A typical life of a faculty member is that you might write a proposal, let's say, to the National Science Foundation, and you might get funding for supporting 2 students and maybe part time for yourself. And then, if you think about that, it's really impossible to do, under those circumstances, realistic research that can be embedded in a realistic scenario. If you have some idea about software to try out, say in a mobile device, just you and your 2 students don't have the infrastructure for doing that. So this is a game changer. This new Yahoo collaboration is a game changer for us at the university. It rewrites what becomes possible for us to do. And what we're going to do with this project is we're going to not just take individual faculty and their 2 students and plug them into the ability to piggyback on Yahoo's software mobile toolkit, for which I have to thank Scott Gaffney for coming up with that idea. But in addition, we're going to draw together the research of not just one faculty and 2 students, but we're going to cherry pick across the entire university the most relevant research in computer perception, how to make sense of microphone and camera signals, in learning how to do personalization, in human factors and design and interfaces, in the Human-Computer Interaction Institute, for example. And by pulling these together, we'll be able to put together a kind of prototype system, field it on top of and surrounding Yahoo's infrastructure, and we're going to have a concerted effort to sign in opt-in users on the CMU campus, many of the students, for example, to be living in this test bed, this research test bed. So the point I really want you to carry from this is that this is unprecedented, not just in the magnitude of funding, which it is, we're very grateful for that, but it just changes the style of research that we're going to be able to do. So we're very excited to get started, and I just want to, before I sit down, point out that Justine is going to give a more detailed talk about some of the scientific techniques and the technologies and the ongoing research here at CMU that we're going to be building on. She'll be giving that talk upstairs after this session breaks up. So at this point, I think we'd like to open up for questions, and I'll invite Ron and Randy up.
Question. How did this come about? Was it built from your existing relationship? Where did you create this idea and this approach?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we have had for some time an ongoing relationship with Yahoo. Yahoo has provided us, as Randy mentioned, hardware infrastructure, but also fellowships for our students in the past. And Don McGillen, our campus representative from Yahoo, I'm looking for Don here, we were chatting one day, and Don surfaced the idea of doing something big, different from these piecemeal things we had done before. And so following up on that, a lot of discussions over a substantial period of time, it kind of came together.
I was just going to embellish that a little bit. From our perspective, I'm not sure if it's terribly well known, but in a sense, science really powers a lot of Yahoo's current product suite, and it's very much, we anticipate, it's going to be a major factor in innovation in the future. And while we have a tremendous set of great scientists around the world, we know that there are a lot more excellent people elsewhere, and especially in the academy around the world. And so what we've always done in our Yahoo Labs context is outreach of various sorts to key universities. We like to work as much as we can in the open. We publish, we participate in international forums and the like. And so the idea of, in some sense, multiplying our intelligence around problems like this by partnering with great institutions was kind of a natural thing to do. And once the first idea sort of took root, we started talking about what we might do together, then it was pretty easy to imagine how it would benefit both institutions and how we could do something, as Tom said, that was really quite big.
Do you have anything this ambitious with any other universities at this point?
No.
Why did you choose Carnegie Mellon?
Carnegie Mellon is, I'll have to have them quote statistics for you, but to our minds, Carnegie Mellon is the preeminent academic institution in the world in machine learning. The scale of the faculty, the interaction between the computer science department and the statistics department, the people they've been able to hire, the quality of the students are second to none. And this whole idea of personalization has many parts to it, including information gathering and analysis and natural language understanding and the like. But at the core, it's really about learning. It's about taking raw data that's generated from the real world, either intentionally given to you or observed, and drawing interesting generalizations and conclusions from it. And so the guts of what we need to do as a personalization company really focuses around machine learning. So the match was just, in some sense, a no-brainer. The best institution in the fields that we care about the most, strong relationship beforehand along many dimensions, as both Randy and Tom have pointed out, kind of a long history of personal relationships between many of the principals on both sides here. So it was, to be honest, we didn't think of any other university to do it with. This was sort of the natural first and last thing we thought of doing in terms of this particular scale of collaboration.
How does the partnership work in terms of intellectual property created as opposed to ownership?
I'm not sure what we can talk about here or not. There's a contract, a large one, signed after a lot of great work, I have to say, amongst two very active legal teams, and we found really great common ground. I don't even know exactly the details, but universities, especially institutions that have complex funding of their own and support students of all sorts, and private corporations like ours, each have kind of at the base slightly different needs around intellectual property, but our folks working together found some really interesting kind of joint ground in which they could work. And so the arrangement ends up allowing Carnegie Mellon to do exactly what it needs with all the intellectual property that it creates. I guess I could put it that way. And I think that was very important to both parties. And in our case, on the Yahoo side, we're most excited really about the collaboration, and IP specifically was not really the point of this. So in fact, I think we worked out a really, perhaps a role model working relationship, I don't know. Certainly, if we do other big things with this institution, we have a very firm foundation for building on top of that. And part of our hope is to make lots of other universities quite jealous. So we'll see how that works.
And end user, we talked about personalization, we talked about machine learning, but bottom line is it wouldn't be good to anybody if the end user didn't see a difference. How do you plan to incorporate this information you're gathering into applications? What type of applications do you see being used from this to basically help somebody out? And what will they see and what will they notice?
Should I tell you that?
Go ahead.
It's a great question. Thank you. Interestingly enough, it may not be apparent to many of our users, but a version of this kind of personalization is out there already in many of our products. So if you take the Yahoo homepage, and I don't know the exact statistics, but it's certainly visited by literally hundreds of millions of people around the world. There are various elements on the page that are already created with at least assistance from machine learning algorithms. And in fact, what we think of as the infinite stream of articles that you see either on the homepage or many of our other important sites like Yahoo News, Yahoo Sports, Yahoo Finance, those streams are already personalized to the users who sign in and let us know who they are, and have given us information about what they like and don't like in different ways. So in fact, you can't really tell in some ways, but if you're finding yourself spending more time on those pages and clicking on more articles and being more engaged with what we do, you're already being served by personalization technology. And the secret, of course, is to do it well for every individual that visits us, and everyone is different, using information from those individuals, using social information, using popularity that comes with sort of the broad population, and mixing them all together to provide this really engaging experience. So that's the key place where we will start. And then if you think about mobile activity, an awful large percentage, a very large percentage of the things that people do every day with smartphones, including mail and search and checking the weather, dealing with sports scores, fantasy sports, finance, et cetera, are major offerings from Yahoo. And so the idea is that we want to provide in the long run this multifaceted kind of unified experience where you are when you need it on devices of various form factors. They could be phones, they could be tablets, they could be devices that have yet been unanticipated. In fact, one of the great things about Carnegie Mellon, there's some really interesting work going on here about novel ways for people to carry services around with them that don't look like smartphones or tablets. So we're very excited about that. And the idea there is also then to accommodate your interests and needs and your desires and wishes where you are under whatever circumstance you find yourself with whatever kind of device you're using. And if we do it right, you'll just find yourself more and more engaged and really delighted by the services and not even stop to think about how is this happening or even being asked to do anything overt to indicate to our systems what you like and dislike.
I'm afraid we're running short on time, so if there's maybe one more question.
I'll ask one more if nobody else wants to. I have lots of questions. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Are you going to be storing a lot of data from people? Is that how you're going to kind of put these algorithms together that helps predict and helps people along? Is there going to be a storage?
Yeah, let's talk about what's happening here on the campus.
Yes, the idea of learning to personalize is based on data, and therefore a key part of the research here is going to involve privacy issues and how to do that data collection processing in a way that optimizes personal privacy.
And in the Carnegie Mellon experimentation, sort of living laboratory, people will need to opt in, need to overtly say, yes, it is okay to use my data, certain kinds of data, in exchange hopefully for the research value as well as the we hope, increasingly personalized experience. So we'll start with a direct opt-in system for this experimental sort of facility.